Hello, this is Jean Hall with Right to Ignite, talking to you today about trends in young adult literature right now, Christian young adult literature, let me put it that way. And I'd like to cover 7 areas quickly with you, so hang on, here we go. The first big hot trend right now is fantasy, and you can tell that just by walking through a bookstore. And there are 2 kinds of fantasy. So this one is about dragons and castles and fairies and fair maidens and so forth. And that's very hot right now. But the second kind is about the future, or about technology. Whoa, that's a good, yeah, about technology taking over the world. About much more, maybe fantasy worlds. Both kinds are very hot right now, and it might be difficult to get your fantasy book published, honestly. So even if it's futuristic or past-based. The second kind is retelling old favorites, and Melanie Dickerson has done a great job of this. She has retold, I don't remember how many fairy tales, just completely, totally reimagined them. So if you're thinking, what if Cinderella did this? Then you might have a hot story there, and young adults are enjoying that right now. The third trend in young adult lit is multiculturalism and diversity. Let me find my book. It was very hard for me to find, so I'm at my Christian library here in Louisville, Kentucky. But this book is a great example, because that means that it doesn't mean you just poke in people from different ethnicities, but the main characters in this book are from a Near Eastern culture living in America. And also one of the main characters in Bound has a disability that she's dealing with, and the whole family is dealing with. So this book is terrific. It's about relationships, difficult relationships, and it weaves in those other elements of diversity and multiple ethnicities also. So it looks at the world not from just the viewpoint of a white American 21st century person. Now the fourth trend right now is in relationships. Let me find my stack of books. And a lot of those books are contemporary stories that take place, right here and now. And many of them are either directed toward guys, or big interest to guys, or big interest to young women. And Kristen Billerback has written a big series of books that appeal to young women. And then there are very few that appeal to young men. So if you got a story that's full of action and thrills and danger, but can still get a message through the main character, that the main character face the issues, face the problems, come up with a solution, and make decisions for himself. And remember, these things can be worked together. You can have a story about relationships that also includes as multiculturalism as one of those relationships. So remember, young adults want to know about how to get along with their family members, and what to do if they hate their family, and they're interested in romance and friendships, how to handle difficulties in their friendships. So that leads me to the next category, which is quirky characters. And I don't have any books to show you, but I'll bet as a middle grader you remember reading or have your kids reading Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Some strange people in that book, in those books, aren't there? And even Holes. Why is the main character so appealing? Because he's bumbling. He makes mistakes. He tries to do good and winds up doing bad. And young adults find themselves in that pickle, and they want to read about other people who have faced the same thing and make the same mistakes and do the same dumb things and work things out. Now, number 6, the trend number 6 is exploring issues, and this is really important. And remember, you can do this through time travel books, through fantasy books, through relationship books, through romance books, through thrillers. to explore issues that are important to young adults right now. And the list is getting longer all the time, but they have everyday issues like, what am I going to do when I get out of high school? And, how do I choose the right person to marry? And things like, how can I really be a responsible person and not always making these dumb mistakes? Small things like learning to cook to keeping curfew, or big issues. Young adults right now are very concerned with things like sex trafficking and global warming and obesity, things like racial issues, conflict between different people groups, and war. They want to know about these things. Now, they don't necessarily want us to preach to them. Young adults want to follow a character, fall in love with that character who faces these same issues and figures it out, sort of. And then the young adult reader can cheer for that young adult main character and learn with that main character. Now, my last, and by the way, this leads me to the last category, which is nonfiction. There are so many ways, devotionals, magazines, Christian magazines for young adults are begging for articles. You just have to read their guidelines, study their magazines, and write it the way they want it written. And to help young adults figure life out for themselves while they're being entertained. So, where's my book? Come here, you. Where are you? Check us out. If you have an idea for a young adult book, please pursue it. Please, there's a big, fat hole in Christian young adult literature right now. You could help fill it. Check us out. Bye-bye.